I feel like I've told this story so many times in the last 6 years, but basically when I turned 50, my menopause kicked in, and it kicked in with a bit of a vengeance, and I spent 2 years just really, really struggling with menopausal symptoms, brain fog, anxiety, lack of confidence, as well as some of the physical symptoms. Thankfully, hot flushes weren't particularly high up on the agenda, but it did really mess with my confidence. I felt a lot of the time like I was losing competence, and after 2 years I ended up resigning from my role. And I trained as a health coach, a nutrition coach, and also a personal trainer, and I thought, well, I need to do something that's on my terms, that I can fit around when my energy is high, when it's not. So I started coaching, and I was the people I was coaching were all going through that same menopause transition, and I basically sort of fell into working with corporate. And if I look back, I'm not entirely sure where the transition happened. I had a training background, so I'd been in the learning and development world for about the last 10 years in my role for the Air Force, and that kind of led to me delivering this menopause training, and that's how my kind of business started. And from there I just started to get work with both public and private sector businesses, and I was talking a lot about the impact of menopause on me and on other working women that I was sort of meeting. I was talking a lot about that on LinkedIn.
Right, okay. And the other thing that you've mentioned a lot, and obviously it's an important part of what you do, and the realisation that at 56 you were late diagnosed as ADHD, and that's had a quite a big influence on your decisions from that point. And so do you want to expand on a little bit about, for those that don't know what ADHD is, what it is, and how it affects what you do and how you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was going through the whole sort of menopause stuff at work, I wasn't aware of the fact that I had ADHD. I was always aware that I had challenges that other people seemed to find very easy. I always struggled with things like organisation and impulsivity and lack of focus in some areas and hyper focus in others, which are very typical traits of somebody with ADHD. But I wasn't aware of it, Mark. I had no idea that I had ADHD. If I'm honest, I was very ignorant about what it was. I thought it was just bad parenting of naughty little boys. To my shame, that was, that was what I'd understood about ADHD. But I was coaching somebody who had ADHD, and she picked up on the fact that I displayed an awful lot of the traits of ADHD, and I was, I trusted what she had to say. Started doing some more research around it, and ticked off so many of the ADHD behavioural boxes, if you like. And when I was sort of researching about ADHD, what kept coming up was how ADHD seemed to manifest a lot in women when their hormones were all over the place, which got me thinking about, well, hang on, is this partly why I struggled so much with the perimenopausal symptoms? Was there a sort of a clash of the hormones going on? And the more I tried to research it, the less I could find definitively that kind of had been studied about the impact of those sort of two conditions meeting. But there was so much anecdotal evidence out there, and that led to me doing a TEDx talk called ADHD in Menopausal Women, looking at the fact that there's such an overlap of the symptoms. And certainly from getting my formal diagnosis, which was January 2023, so I was 56, it helped me to really understand some of the less positive behaviours, but also to recognise some of the more positive behaviours. Now, I'm always a bit reluctant when people say ADHD is a superpower, because I think for many people it's a real challenge. But there are definitely strengths that I've associated now due to my ADHD. And you're right, it has meant that it does come more into my decision making now, because I'm aware of the struggles that I have. I've certainly been more willing now to take help and bring people onto the team. I have somebody whose sole role in my business is to manage me, because my own sort of self-management from a business point of view is challenged. Things like organisation and staying focused and not getting, distracted with shiny objects. So she does that. That's her role. So it has definitely helped in my business to be aware. And I love the fact that in your book, your first part of measure is about mirror. That whole self-awareness piece and being aware of our behaviours and the impact that they have on other people, and also the impact that they have on our own decision making. So it has made a huge difference, actually, getting that diagnosis and just really understanding myself better. I kind of wish I'd had that level of understanding and awareness in my 20s. I think I'd have had potentially a different career trajectory, but it is what it is. I found out in my 50s. I don't think ADHD in women was even recognised up until about 20 years ago. I think
Right.
it just wasn't recognised at all as a female condition.
Yeah, I had to laugh when you said that you've got someone in your business that actually manages you. Because I've got a friend who, he says he's ADHD, and there's several people that have gone, yes, he has. He shows lots of the traits, and every now and again a text out of the blue comes, do you fancy a coffee? And I know what it is. He just needs to just run something by me, and it's almost like, oh, this is what do you think? It's just almost like, and it's just like driving me a bit mad, and I just sort of like have to just listen to him and then just say, right, well, what I'm hearing is, and so. But as you said, it's understanding and actually being aware of these things. It's important. Once you're then aware, then you can then manage them better. It's when you don't know quite what's going on that's the problem, isn't it?